Hey, and welcome to the SF Fitness Nutrition for Weight Loss Starter Guide. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the exact system we use for weight loss here at SF Fitness. It's simple, practical, and most importantly, it puts you in control. It's not some extreme diet. We're going to break down the process step by step so you know exactly what to do. No guessing, no dramatic changes, just a clear system that produces results over time. Now, if you've tried to lose weight before, this will probably sound familiar. You start off motivated, try to eat healthier, maybe exercise a bit more, but after a few weeks things stall or get confusing. The scale moves up one day and down the next and eventually feels like nothing is working. And most people assume the problem is them. But the truth is the problem usually isn't you, it's the advice people are trying to follow. You've probably heard the phrase eat less and move more. Technically that's correct, but it's not very helpful. It doesn't tell you how to do it, how much to change, or how to know if what you're doing is actually working. And without that feedback, people end up relying on motivation or willpower, which eventually runs out. So instead of guessing, what we use is a system. On one side, you have typical diets, lots of rules about what you can and can't eat, relying on willpower and hoping it works. On the other side is the SF system. It's based on data, small adjustments and consistency over time. Once you understand how the system works, fat loss becomes much more predictable. So let's get into the first step. Your mission for the next 7 days is very simple. There are just 3 things to do. First, weigh yourself every morning. Do this after using the bathroom and before eating or drinking anything. Second, track what you eat and drink during the day. And third, and this is important, don't change anything yet. Seriously, the first week is not about trying to lose weight. It's about collecting information so we can see what's actually happening. Now at this point, people often say something like, but my weight jumps around all the time. And they're right. Your body naturally fluctuates from day to day. Things like water intake, salt, carbohydrate intake, sleep, hormones, stress can all move the scale up or down. But those changes are mostly water weight, fluid coming in and out of our cells. They don't actually mean you've gained or lost body fat overnight. So think of that daily number as noise. What we're interested in is the overall trend. And the same idea applies when you're tracking your food this week. You're not trying to eat perfectly, you're not judging yourself, you're simply creating a record of what happened. Think of yourself like a scientist collecting data. No judgment, just information. Another important thing to understand is where the calories you burn each day actually come from. See, most people assume exercise plays the biggest role, but in reality, exercise makes up a relatively small part of your daily energy expenditure, how much you burn. Usually only around 5%. That's that little yellow part in that circular pie chart. So that's why you can't out-exercise a diet. Exercise is incredibly valuable for our health and fitness, but when it comes to fat loss, nutrition has the biggest impact. So after your first week of tracking and weighing, you'll have a full set of data. Now we can actually use that information. Take your 7 daily weigh-ins and add them together and divide them by 7. This gives you your 7-day average weight. You can use 5 days, divide it by 5, etc. From this point forward, the average is the number that matters. It smooths out all those daily fluctuations and shows us the real trend. This is also an important mindset shift. The scale is not there to judge you. It's simply a tool that gives us feedback. And once you have that feedback, decisions become very simple. Each week, you compare your new weekly average to the previous week. If your body weight dropped by about 0.5 to 0.75%, that's exactly where we want to be. Keep doing the same thing. If it dropped less than that, we make a small adjustment. No guessing, just a calm response based on the data. Now, it's also important to understand what real fat loss actually feels like. A lot of people expect dramatic changes because that's what we see on TV or social media. But real sustainable fat loss is much more gradual. It's between 0.5 and 0.75% of your body weight per week. To put that into perspective, 1 pound of body fat contains roughly 3,500 calories of stored energy. That's a huge amount of energy for your body to burn through, roughly 500 calories a day if you want to lose a pound in a week. So when someone loses a single pound of body fat, that represents a consistent calorie deficit over time. That's real progress. Fat loss should feel controlled and manageable. You might feel slightly hungry sometimes, but you should still have enough energy to train, work, and live your normal life. If you feel exhausted, miserable, or constantly starving, that usually means something needs to be adjusted. This process should be sustainable, not a punishment. To make this work long term, there are a few important rules. Don't aim for perfection. Don't slash calories extremely low. Don't remove entire food groups. Don't react emotionally to daily changes on the scale. Don't rely on motivation or willpower, and don't overly restrict your food choices. Instead, rely on the system. Collect the data, make small adjustments, and stay consistent. When you zoom out, the whole process is actually very simple. Track your data, calculate your average, make a small adjustment if needed, and then repeat the process again next week. That's the feedback loop that drives progress. And the reason it works is because it's based on the science of energy balance. If your calorie intake is lower than your energy your body uses over time, your body has to draw on stored energy, which means body fat. So if you follow this process consistently, fat loss becomes predictable. At this point, you've gotten the system. The only thing left to do is start. So pick one thing from this 3-step mission, focus on that this week, and take it one step at a time. Welcome to SF Fitness. You've got this.